Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone to this very special live session. Inshallah, everyone will be learning something new, will be, inshallah, getting to new experience. We'll be talking, inshallah ta'ala, to a very special guest. So hopefully, inshallah, will be very interesting and beneficial, educational session. Okay, so we have Fuad Aidarus. He's with us today, inshallah ta'ala. He's our guest. And we'll be talking about Quran, creative Quran revision game board that he created. It was his idea. But we also want to expand into the idea of becoming creative in teaching the Quran, in delivering the message of Islam, and so on. So instead of just keeping it to the traditional way of teaching the Quran, we live in a new era where children need to also have some entertainment while learning the Quran and so on. So this is the whole idea. And for this reason, inshallah ta'ala, we'll be talking to Ustaz Fuad Aidarus. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ustaz Fuad.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, good. Good to have you here.
It's a
I know
pleasure.
Fuad for يعني for quite a long time, and but this is the first time we are يعني a host and a guest. So let's see how it goes, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, good. Fuad, tell us a little bit about yourself, inshallah.
Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Salatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. So my name is Fuad Aidarus. I'm a teacher. Initially, I started off as a pharmacist. I graduated as a pharmacist, and then soon after graduating, I realized that pharmacy wasn't actually for me, and that's when I thought, let me go into teaching. Teaching was something I was very passionate about. From when I was in college, I used to be a tutor. Trying to help the students below my year group. So, soon after graduating as a pharmacist and working, I thought, let me retrain as a teacher. And I started my teaching career as an ESL teacher in Saudi. And that's where I met you, mashallah. And I'm still there, teaching English. So, that's a little bit about me in terms of my background. Yeah, so that's it.
MashaAllah. Okay, good. So Fuad, tell us, was this your first time thinking about something, and trying to use technology in teaching? I know you're a teacher and you teach a student in the classroom, but in terms of doing something outside the classroom, teaching something in general outside the classroom in a creative way, using technology and so on, have you ever been into that area?
Yeah, I mean, subhanAllah, I think it was in 2007. A very close brother that I know, he was actually one of the first people to start online teaching, in terms of Islamic studies, Quran and Islamic studies. I think that this was, like a very new concept at that time, and people, weren't really understanding how can you teach online Quran, Islamic studies. You need to be in front of a sheikh and so on. So that's when I got into this whole teaching and innovation and being very creative. So he was the first person who really inspired me actually to be very creative when it comes to teaching. So that's where the idea came about. Initially, I started, working with him. I've learned a lot. Then I moved on to online teaching, where I created my online English teaching platform. So, that's where it all stemmed from, in terms of innovation and teaching. And I would say 2 years ago, we moved on to, Quran teaching, and trying to bring innovative resources when it comes to teaching children Quran.
Right, but why do you see this as something important? Why do you put your effort, your skills? Why you invested in this? What is the purpose?
Okay, so I mean, initially, the whole idea of Quran teaching and trying to be creative came from when we were teaching our daughter Quran. We just didn't want her to just memorize the Quran. We wanted her to be engaged throughout her journey and to have a connection, with the Quran, so that her journey becomes a memorable one. So, we search for resources and activities, that she can do while she's learning her Quran and memorizing. And, we found that there wasn't really a platform that catered for this, a platform that helped parents, to support their kids. And, the idea of Quran Plan was then born. So, we came up with a platform that brings all of the Quran resources that parents need to create a meaningful relationship with the Quran between, the child and, their hifz journey. So that's why, there was a need in that sense, so that kids have a love, for learning the Quran and memorizing the Quran.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, mashallah. So you already had an experience, like in terms of online teaching and using technology in teaching, whether Quran or also you had, there was a time when you teach in English, also online. So how is the last idea, your idea of creating a revision game? Because this is something I think very. I don't think there were any similar product in the in the market, like a board game to teach the Quran or to help the kids in terms of revision. So tell us about how did you come into from online teaching, which is still not like, we still have so many platforms for teaching the Quran and so on online, but it's idea of a game. How did you come into that?
Okay, so we need to basically go back maybe 2 years, so I can give you a brief background. So initially, the idea was to create resources for parents, teaching resources related to the Quran. As you know, I'm a teacher, and I like to come up with activities and resources that always help students and children learn. So initially, we started off with creating just digital resources, where they can print some games, again related to the Quran, and mainly all of the activities are related to Quran revision. It's not really about teaching; it's mainly about trying to help children retain what they memorize. Kids, they memorize very quickly, but retention and revision is sometimes a struggle. So we wanted to basically create all of these resources and activities that parents can just print, have it ready, and they can do with their kids. So whether it be activities, games, and so on. So we started off with, like I said, digital games and activities. And mashallah, the feedback, alhamdulillah, was very positive. But the parents were always asking for more. And not only that, they said, you know what, we actually want something physical now. Something that we can actually have at home and we can use all the time, because printing resources, papers get lost, ripped, and so on. Yeah. So, so based on the feedback we've got, that's when the idea of the Quran board game came about. So we took the digital experience and thought, how can we transform this now into a meaningful product that parents can have at home and that the children can enjoy?
Right. Excellent. Okay, good. So it was kind of a process. It started from something and then it developed within time. Okay. In terms of getting this produced and into the production kind of area, tell us a bit more about the journey. How was that? Now, idea, but then to produce it into something tangible. I'm sure there was some challenges. There was some kind of,
So, the process was very lengthy. I would say it probably took us about a year to come up with a sample that was ready to be launched. So the first thing we did was, we had to consult, people of knowledge, and ensure that what we wanted to do was, Sharia compliant. Because at the end of the day, it's a matter of Deen and Quran, so it needs to be something that can be done. So we spoke to a few people, alhamdulillah, and they said, you know what, the idea is great, it's much needed, and there's nothing that goes against Sharia. It's not like you're drawing the verses or anything like that. So
there's no bid'ah here. There's no innovation. Because we need to assure our
and alhamdulillah, we avoided anything controversial in the process.
Because when we put on the post that we put the word I think innovation in teaching the Quran or something like that. A brother commented. He said instead of using innovation, you should have used creativity. And I did agree with him. So innovation sometimes is
it's true.
To bid'ah.
I mean, the first, like I said, so the first thing we did was to speak with people of knowledge, and we actually had to make a change in the design process. We actually had for the board game. Actually, most board games, if not all, use dice. That there's you need the dice to move around.
Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of people said, don't use dice. There's a hadith, that prohibits the use of dice. So we had to scrap the idea and come up with another alternative that we can use. So that was the first process, to get the approval of people of knowledge in moving forward. Once we got past that stage, that's where all the creativity had to come in, working with designers, and that was not easy. Actually, we worked with quite a few. We're dealing with kids, so it was very important to come up with an eye-catching design, something that kids would enjoy. So the first few people we worked with, we were not really happy with them. So we moved on to another designer until we were really happy. Then once we got the designs, before we started printing or anything, we got feedback on this. We gave we showed samples to many parents, and asked for their feedback, opinion, what they thought, and then we made some changes here and there. And then from there came the next challenge, which was finding a supplier, someone that could manufacture good quality games. So from there we looked at few suppliers. Again, it was more of trial and error. The first company we tried to work with, we weren't happy with the samples. Then we changed. I think we tried 4 companies until we finally came up with a good product. Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Good. So there was also I'm sure the challenge of financing this, the whole thing. I don't want to go in details into the finance, but was it like? Did you feel like it was a barrier? Finance was it like a real problem?
Yeah, I mean, look, with any product that you want to launch, there needs to be finance involved in there, cash to launch that product. So initially, I had to finance the startup cost, myself, just to get the designs ready and the samples ready and so on. So the initial cost was covered by myself, and then what we had to basically do was to get the product into the market. Again, this involves a lot of cost in terms of manufacturing, lab testing, quality inspections, and then shipping. So what we decided to do, and was to get this on pre-order basis. Right. So we are currently making a limited quantity, and it's available on pre-order basis. And I mean, alhamdulillah, the response has been good so far. We've had a lot of pre-orders. So it would help us to get the product into the market. So the aim is to get the products delivered to everyone around August. I would say end of July, early August, inshallah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Can you show us a sample of the?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please.
I have one actually. 1 second.
Yeah. Okay. So for brothers and sisters who just joined us, we're talking to Ustaz Fuad Aidarus. We're talking about game board that he created or he invented, which is for the purpose of helping children to revise Quran and go the revision of Quran. A very new idea. It is simple in a way, but also the idea is bringing, inshallah ta'ala, creativity in teaching the Quran and bringing Islamic knowledge to our children. So the whole concept is new and very important at this time. So now Ustaz Fuad is going to show us, inshallah, a sample of the game and just explain to us practically how does the game work.
Yeah, so here we have the first board game. It's Surah Journey Junior. So we've got two levels basically. One is for younger children, and it's from Surah. So it's a double-sided board game. Let me just open it. So the first side is from Surah Nas to Surah Asr. So here we have Surah Nas to Surah Asr.
Can you bring it a bit closer to the screen, Fuad? Just closer so you can see it.
Yeah. So here we have. So it starts from Surah Nas. It starts from Surah Nas, and it ends all the way to Surah Asr.
Right. And what is this map? What is the map?
So it's just basically a landscape. It's it's a design where they go through. So the idea was to kind of make it a journey. So right. They start from here and they move around the board until they reach the. Excuse me.
You have a bit of water for it. It's fine. Yeah.
So the idea is they move around the board, and as they move, they have some challenges of reading their surahs. So it's a way of engaging them in their Quran revision while they're playing as well. So they move around.
What happened when they reach, let's say, what do they use? You said they can't use dice. So what do they use?
Yeah, so there's a card.
Yeah.
With numbers.
Uh-huh.
So they take a number.
So each player will have how many cards?
Yeah, so it's basically numbers 1 to 5. So a player takes a card, and whatever number that's shown.
And how many players at the time?
I mean, it depends how many players are playing. It could be one. Sorry, not one. A minimum 2 players, up to 4.
Up to 4, so between 2 and 4 players. Okay.
So let's say they take a number and it's number 3. Mm-hmm. They start from here, 1, 2, 3, and it's Surah Falaq. So they read Surah Falaq. If they don't make a mistake, they get to play. If they make a mistake, then they miss a turn.
Sorry, Fahd. I'm just trying to really understand here. So let's say a player holding 4 cards. Is that right?
So here we have the cards, okay?
Yeah, how many cards a player would
I mean, no. So the cards are in the middle. So you just
they will pull a card.
So I take one.
Right, okay. Okay, so the card would show number 5. Okay. Yeah.
I'm in 5 steps now.
Right,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So step 5 is Surah Ikhlas.
Yes.
I now read Surah Ikhlas. Mm-hmm. Then you play next, then you move.
Right. So if you read it without mistake, you would move on. You'd continue. I assume that, yeah.
Yeah. So next turn, I play again. But if I make a mistake,
Then
then
you
I miss
stop, and
one time.
the other player would have his turn.
Yeah. So it's in a way, it's like, you know, for kids, it's like very competitive. They want to win, so you know,
Mm,
they want to recite correctly, and it
yes.
helps them to retain their, you know, their Quran as well at the same time.
Yeah. So
So
they're playing a game, but at the same time they're doing the revision.
yeah, and the other idea that we had was, you know, it's a way to connect the family where they can spend time with the
Mm,
Quran, with their kids playing. So
yes.
it's like a win-win situation in a way, you know.
Yes. Yes.
So you know,
Instead of
it's all about,
beating them up and bringing them to do revision,
yeah. I mean,
you need to do revision in a
know,
nice
we
way.
have like, you know, nowadays we have, you know, the gadgets and the
Just for the
tablets.
purpose of I was joking. We don't beat the kids. We don't like beating the kids in any way for any reason. So just joking. Okay.
So it's a great way to you know, to spend family time, and
Yes.
for, you know, the kids to also have fun whilst, you know, connecting with the Quran. So like I said, the first board game is
So
two-sided.
this is the junior
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah, it's the first side from Surah Nas to Surah Asr, and then here
Okay.
is from Surah Nas to Surah Fajr.
You mean al-Asr to al-Fajr or
No,
the whole
no,
way al-Nas?
no, from
Okay.
Nas to Fajr.
To al-Fajr.
Okay,
Okay. So this is for
so
the
it's,
senior for
no, no,
senior
no.
level.
It's part of the same junior game.
Ah, right. Okay. Okay. That's
So
just
junior is more or less like, let's just say,
half Juz'
like
Amma or
half
something.
of Juz Amma.
Right. Okay.
It's up to Surah Fajr.
Okay.
So we've got two sides to cater for the age groups. So if you've
Right.
got a small child in your family, say, you know, you have 3 4 kids and the younger one is only, you know, up to sort of Takathur or something, then the whole
Mm.
family can play one side, you know, up
The one
to
up to
Surah Asr.
al-Asr.
Everyone is involved, and
Right.
then, you know, the older kids can maybe play on the other side if they know up to Surah Fajr.
Okay.
So that's
Excellent.
the junior one. Then
Right.
we've got, sorry, I've got a bit of a sore throat,
No, that's
and
fine.
that's why. So the other one is basically the Surah Journey, the advanced level. This
Oh,
one
okay.
is for the whole of Juz Amma, actually. It's
Right.
but it's not like, you know, the full surah. I mean, as you go towards the bigger surahs, you won't be reading the full surahs, and this was based on feedback that we got from parents, where, you know, they said it was taking a long time to finish the game,
Mm.
and kids were
Okay.
getting a bit bored. So we
Yes.
had to select verses from each surah that they will read.
And where is that? Where is it printed on the card?
Yeah. So it will say on here, example, which verses they read. So if you look at here,
Yeah.
example, Surah
So when
Buruj.
they land on a
Yeah, so when they
specific,
land on Surah Buruj, it will
it
say
says Buruj 1 to 11.
1 to 11. Now,
Inshallah.
there's something very special about this game, actually. What we've included
Mm.
is heft challenges, where
Okay.
they have to take, if they land on a challenge step. So here we have a challenge, journey
Yeah.
challenge. If they land on this, they take a challenge card where they have to complete a challenge. It's a heft challenge in 30
Ah,
seconds. So we have a timer, a 30-second time in there. So they take a card.
mashallah.
So
Yes.
it says, example, here, recite the first 5 verses of Surah Tariq. Or maybe
Ah,
another one, read verses 3 and 4 of Surah Takathur. So we've got about,
okay.
I think about 20 of these. Here we have another one, for example, read the last verse of Surah Asr, the 6th
Yeah.
verse of Surah Teen, and the
Yeah.
last verse of Surah Inshiqaq. So they have to
Wow.
complete the challenge in 30 seconds. And the reason why we included these challenges, again, is to strengthen the hifd.
Mm.
So, you know, we want them to be really sharp, you know, when it
But
comes
also
to,
it brings excitement. It brings kind of challenge to
Yeah, exactly.
that makes it exciting. Yeah.
It's very competitive. So if someone makes a mistake, like it gives the other person a chance to play again and win. And kids love games and challenges and competing, especially if they're competing against an older sibling or their parents, and if they win, they feel happy. I beat my dad, I beat my brother, and so on.
Did you bring these additional kind of ideas after receiving feedback from parents?
I mean, the cards, no, it was initially part of our process. So we
But
wanted
some
to
of the things you added as kind of feedback, based on feedback.
Yeah.
Right.
So things like the time it took to complete a game,
Yes.
because we didn't want kids to sit down for 1 hour. They're gonna get bored of it. So we wanted that the game can be finished in like 15-20 minutes. In that time period. So based on the feedback we got, we had to remove some steps or put like some extra, or put some steps that allows them to move forward. So for example, here we've got things like a special step that says Iman boost. So they move 4 steps. So if they come on here, they get like the chance to move 4 steps. So little things like that to kind of speed up the process. But then again, we also have things like go back 3 steps or go back 4.
Okay. If they
make it fun and exciting.
Right. Okay. MashaAllah. So I want to ask you about developing more and more and improving because of course I'm sure it's something open for improvement, for enhancement, and so on. So are you open for that? Are you willing to make maybe some improvement after feedback? Because I'm sure this is the initial stage now, where it's going to be a trial. You're going to see feedback and so on.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, right now we only make, we're only making a limited quantity. So based on the feedback we will get, from parents, we may make some changes. But like I said, we've really tested the whole process, alhamdulillah. It took us a year to come up with a product. So it wasn't something that we rushed. We spoke to many parents from different parts of the world. And also we started off, bear in mind, we started off with digital games. So these are a continuation of our digital games that, we had for 6, 7, 8 months. And so it's been a process of gradual improvement, alhamdulillah. But I mean, going forward, yes, we're always open to feedback and making changes. It's all about trying to help kids at the end of the day. So if parents say, why don't you do this, or why don't you try and do this, why not? So the whole process is open for improvement, alhamdulillah. We want to help kids at the end of the day. Our slogan is creating memorable Quran journeys. So we want kids to enjoy the hifz journey. It's not something, where they just go and just read and, they don't really enjoy. We want them to be involved in that whole process, and the parents as well. And it's not only, by the way, it's not only the Quran games that we have. We right now we've also started a resource section on our website where we have free downloadable resources for parents, activities, digital games, worksheets, where we try to infuse Quran revision into these worksheets. And alhamdulillah, the response from this has also been amazing. The resources are downloaded, I would say, in more than 70 countries all across the world, thousands of downloads, alhamdulillah. So it's not just about games, it's things that they can do.
Inshallah, we're going to put a link to your website, inshallah, later.
Yeah. So it's like if you're homeschooling your kids, example, our resources are available. We also try to have like the national curriculum integrated into some of our activities. So example, like mathematics, like for little kids, addition and subtractions, where we try and create activities where they learn mathematics and revise their Quran at the same time. And when I mentioned this idea to someone, they said, how is it possible? So, one of the activities we have, for example, it's like they have a list of surahs. So they have to read each surah and write down the number of verses. So example, Surah Kafirun, how many verses? So they can't look in the Mus'haf. So they have to read until they get to the end. So then they write the number. Then the next part of the activity is like Surah Kafirun plus Surah Nasr is how many? Equals how many? So we try and create activities where kids learn a bit of everything. Right now, we're trying to work on like some science activities, like how plants grow, and we try to connect it with the Quran, how Allah talks about when the rain comes down and and the land it grows due to the rain. And then they have activities in the pack that they download. So it will say, do this, add water in this pot and not here, and see what happens, and then write down. So we're trying to really create a platform for kids where they can do activities and allows them to connect with the Quran.
Excellent, amazing, mashallah. So with the board, with the game board that people can buy and can have, they will have access to get to you to give feedback. Is that part? So you provide them with information, email or
yeah,
website?
I mean, we're very active on social media. So and also through our website.
Tell us the website, Fuad. Tell us the website, please.
It's quranplan.com. So quranplan.com. And the games can be pre-ordered from launchgood.com/quranplan.
Okay, we're going to put the Launchgood link, inshallah ta'ala, after the session. Right, okay, so mashallah, we've learned about your product, and I think it's a very interesting game. So people can order it now. How long will it take for people to receive it?
So right now, alhamdulillah, we've finished the manufacturing of our games. So we're just waiting for the games to be shipped to our warehouse. I'm not sure how long that will take. With COVID nowadays, it's causing a bit of delays. But our aim is to ship. Our aim is to ship the games to parents by early August, inshallah. So that's what we're aiming for. So hopefully, if parents place their order now, they will get by early August. I mean, we were actually aiming to have them for Ramadan, but we had to make some changes to the games, and that's why it kind of delayed us a little bit.
Right. Okay. How about Quran schools? Do you think they would benefit from it? Since children go to Quran schools, and that's where they learn Quran.
I mean, talking about Quran school, I was actually speaking to someone yesterday who was asking me, can we get your Quran games, for our school, especially when they have break time. They think that, it's a way of, getting the kids, really engaged with their head as well. So I think it's something that will work in terms of schools having these games available. But of course, it depends on their structure, on their timetable. If they have periods where kids can play,
I think for they can create time for it, because you see, if you tell the kids tomorrow we're gonna have our session is gonna be, we're not gonna do our normal class, but instead we're gonna have the game. So kids will be like, okay, so that can be once a month, once every while. The whole class can be just based on the game, and that's where children probably will feel like it's okay. It's kind of a relaxed time. It's easy time to have fun, but at the same time do the work.
See, look, kids love playing. You know, anything that involves games and playing. You know, they're always up for it. Just to give you a small example, in Ramadan we had something called Hifd League, and you know we basically created this competition on Kahoot, and you know it's something and they had to register to take part in a 1 month competition, Hifd competition.
Yes, I don't know that one.
So every week we will, so the structure was that every week we will post quizzes, and from these quizzes, they had to answer basically Hifd questions, 15 Hifd questions every time, and they get points. So as they answer every week, they move up the league. And let me just show you 1 second. If I think I have let me try and find it here. 1 second. So here's how it was. So every week you will see who was leading in the league, right. So kids, when we launched the league, for registration, in 48 hours we had more than 200 kids who registered. We had to close the registration.
And it was open, yeah. It was worldwide,
yeah? Worldwide, right. But within 48 hours we had to close the registration because we had too many kids. And what happened was kids were so eager to be number one that they would be revising the whole of, so it was for Juz Amma basically. Right. And we would post a quiz every 2-3 days. So in between they would be revising the whole of Juz Amma to make sure that they don't make a mistake in the next quiz, because they only have they have 1 minute to answer that question.
Yeah, it's very competitive.
And the quicker they answer, the more points they get. So if if they take like 50 seconds, they get less points. And some of the questions we had, they were like, what verse comes before this, or what verse comes after this, or we would show half of the verse and say complete the other half.
So even strengthen the hifz. It makes the hifz sharp.
Exactly. Yeah. So some kids were answering a question like within 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
Yes, it would be, because
and
we need to be on the lead. Yeah,
like I said, if someone like did not do so well, like my daughter, for example, if she came third or fourth or something, she would put in extra practice to make sure that in the next quiz she's number one.
Yes.
So these are ways to really engage kids. It's not all about, I mean, with technology and and everything we have nowadays, we really need to try and engage our kids, not only in their Quran, in everything really.
Yes, in education and Okay, mashallah, this is amazing. And Fuad, if Quran schools would like you to come and maybe speak to them about the game, or speak to the children, or show it to them, let them try it. Would that be
would that
be available for that?
Yeah, of course. I'm here. I mean, I can come down. I can show them the games. It's fine. It's not a problem. I mean, we actually have 3 games right now: 2 board games, and we have a card game that I never really presented. This is a bit for older kids. It's for the whole of Juz Amma. So again, I can present all 3 games.
This is part of the same game or separate?
Yeah. Again, all of the games that we have, they're all related to Quran revision.
Right.
So 3 games that we have right now, we only have Juz Amma. So all 3 games that we have is for Juz Amma. But we have plans to make games for the other Juz, like Juz 29, 28, and so on. So yeah.
Excellent. Jazakallah khair, Fuad. It was amazing having you and talking about the Quran, game, revision, creative way of, subhanAllah, making our kids engaged in coming closer to the Quran. Inshallah, we have you also in the future. And if people want to, inshallah, contact Fuad, they can get in touch with me, inshallah, and I can get them to speak to Fuad or ask him questions, or maybe work together if someone has, subhanallah, creative idea or a way to develop this any further, inshallah ta'ala, in the future. So Jazakallah khair, Fuad, thank you very much. And Barakallah feek for your time. Jazakallah khair.
Allah barik feek. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.